Yeah. Very good morning, guys. The last day, what we're discussing, the inheritance strategies, right? Two things we completed. One to one or zero, many to many. Okay. The next one is one to many. One to many we already saw. Okay, I have done one thing. What is it is? One to many we basically do with department and employee table. Every department has multiple employees and one employee has one department. So what I done is, yeah, we already learned it, but just to demonstrate it for one more time, I completely created the project and kept it ready. Yeah, I completely created one project and kept it ready. Okay, just have a look. First department. Department ID, name, location, employees. Every department has collection of employees. Second class employee, ID, name, job, salary, department ID, department. Yesterday I was talking about this. You can write on the top of the navigation property and specify the name of the foreign key column, or you can write on the top of the foreign key column and specify the name of the navigation property, bi-direction. Anyway, you can write. Okay. Next, control context class. Yeah, context. I'm using drop create database always. Context, departments, employees. And then we have the controller. I'm inserting for records into departments. Already shown example only, guys. Okay, then I'm inserting for records into employee also. For records into employee also is inserting. Save changes, return view. Okay. Add view. Using a list. List. What's it? Employee company DB context. Build. Yeah, done. So now let's run this. This is one to many relationship. Like one department will have multiple employees. We already saw that. I did not talk about it again newly. We already saw that it will create you one department table with a primary key column, an employee table with a primary key and a separate foreign key. Foreign key referring to the parent table's primary key. See, yeah. So this is the department table where department ID is the primary key. And here is the department table, which is the foreign key. This is referring to the department ID. Okay, now. So this is all how you just do it. This is all how you do it. Fine. Now the next thing, oh, no. The issue is we have simply said return view DC dot We did not pass the data to it here. Employees. There's a mistake. We did not pass the data to that. That's why it was going there. Yeah, even the document also, it's not there. Just correct it, guys. And according to my notes, it is 165 page. I don't know which page are you standing on your notes. It is just about the seed data and NT framework code first. It will be somewhere there. Inheritance strategies, the third one. Simply written as return view there. Return view DC dot employees. Add that. Okay. It's the context company. Controller company. Company index. Okay. It'll create you. We already know that. Nothing to explain you. Fine. If you just look at this, one, we used the strategy as, the strategy is a drop create database if model changes. So already the model was created. So now what we're trying to do is, again, it is trying to insert a record into the department. You see, department doesn't have auto generation. Are you clear? Department doesn't have auto generation. So that's why it is trying to insert 10 again. When it is trying to insert 10 again, primary key violation error is coming. Did you guys understand my point here? So it is getting you a primary key violation error where when you are inserting a value into department. Understood? But what is my strategy? My strategy is not drop create database always. Drop create database model changes. I said you drop create database is something what is used in the initial stages, but not always initial stages. So that's why this 10, 20, 30, 40 department, not only now, every time you'll face this problem now. Are you getting my point or not? Every time I'll be facing this problem. Every time I'll be facing up this particular problem with this 10, 20, 30 and 40. Because primary key violation error will come. How do I avoid this? How do I avoid this particular thing? Actually, I want this code, these 4 lines of code should execute only one time. Are you clear? Department and I fixed here. Department today, tomorrow more employees can come, but departments are fixed. 4 departments in my organization. Or multiple employees can come, right? Not like multiple departments. This is like a default data. This is a fixed data. Should not execute per time. So we have a concept called as seed, data seed. What is that seed? Seed data means initial data. Seed data is nothing but initial data. Sometimes you want some initial data into your tables. You want some initial data into your tables. So if at all you just want an initial data into the tables, means when the database is created, table is created, into this table, I want some default or initial data. Are you clear or not? I want some default or initial data. If your requirement is like you want some default or initial data, okay, understand, if your requirement is like you want some default or initial data, without going for executing it for multiple times, without going for without being executed, we have a concept called seed data. Means if you write the code there, it will execute only one time. when the first time the database is created. Execute only one time, first time the database is created. What is that? There is a method called seed. There is a method called seed, and you're required to override that method in the company DB context class. In the context class, that method should be overridden actually. Seed is the method. Override. No, I forgot. Method seed, no, on overriding. Seed only. No, I'll tell you how to do it. We're required to write the method called seed, and inside the seed we put the code, and when we put the code inside the seed, that code executes only one time. That code executes only one time. Multiple times that statements won't execute. See here, right now you saw the problem literally here. This particular statements got executed for one time already. Second time again they're executing. When they're executing for the second time, primary key violation error is coming. So to avoid this, to insert some default data and the code should execute only one time, we have a concept called seed. How do we perform that seeding means, if at all you want to do that seeding, what you just required to do is, you need to implement this method in the DB initializer class. Which class? DB initializer class. Actually, we have 3 DB initializers already we saw. What are the 3 DB initializers? Drop create database always. Drop create database if model changes. Create database if not exists. How many are there? 3 are there. Drop create database always. Drop create database if model changes. And third one, create database if not exists, are the 3 DB initializer classes. We saw all the 3, how to use all these 3. We need to go for overriding any of that one class. You need to inherit and create a new class now. You need to define a new class inheriting from any of those 3. Actually, what is my requirement here? I want this initializer, means drop and create a database if the model changes. This is what I want. Are you clear? So without directly using this here, let us define a new child class to this class now. If you inherit a child class also, that also will be same like the parent now, because you already know that. Okay, let us define a child class for this particular thing. Okay, what I'm going to do is, I am going to define a new class here. Come to the models folder, watch it all of you, add, project is running, add a new class. I'm giving the name of the class as DB initializer. What is that? My own name, guys. Company DB initializer. I'm giving my own name to this. Already we have 3 DB initializers. Is the 4th class I'm defining. But the 4th class, what I'm defining is a child class to this class. Which class? Drop create database if model changes. Drop create database if model changes. I'm going to inherit from that particular class. Drop create database if model changes. Did you understand my point? Okay. So now I'm just going to inherit, and there's a generic type, don't forget. And here we need to specify the existing context class name. What is that? Company DB context. I'm inheriting from this class. Now tell me, company DB initializer is also drop create database if model changes or not? That is also drop create database if model changes only now. Okay. Now here we need to override the seed method. Override seed. This method is defined for you under this class. Which class? Drop create database if model changes. And here, guys, write the default values you wanted to insert into the table. Write the default values you want to insert into the table. Okay. Just for example, see, already there is a context object here, right? Okay. I'm going to create, let me go to the controller. These 4 department objects are there now. I will cut from here and I will put it here. Now next step, adding to the table. Yeah, that code is also there. See, these lines here, these 4 lines. I will cut from here I will paste here. But context class name is not DC. Context class name is context here now. Array. Object name is not DC. Object name is context. So let me replace the DC with context. Last line, context dot departments dot okay, sorry. Context dot save changes. Context dot save changes. So right here. So if you write here, what happens, this method will execute only one time. This method will execute only one time when the first time the database is created. The first time the database is created, only this method is going to execute. Second time onwards, this code will not be executing. Okay. Now come back to the controller, and in the controller, you see now in the controller, you are dealing only with employee data, not with. Actually, guys, I'm giving static data, but create a view for adding an employee, editing an employee, deleting an employee, displaying an employee. Create a view so that you can start inserting the values. You will not touch the department. What you will insert is only into employee. That is the default data. Basically, every application you take here, you have tables. In tables, default data is mandatory. Some data will be present. See, when SQL Server came to you, by default, you have 4 databases in it. That is default data. Default databases. Same way, for my application also, it will be not default databases. My application will default data in the tables. So all the default data in the tables should be put under the seed method. The seed method we need to override. Where is the method? The method is in the class. In this class. Which class? All the 3 initializer classes here. How to override here? If you want to override, there should be a child class now. That is the reason why I used a child class here and then used here. Okay. Now finally, the last thing. Come to company controller. Sorry, company DB context. Now here what we use, the set initializer is drop create database if model changes. Sorry, don't use this now. What you should use? Your class. Array, your class should be used now. What is that? Company DB initializer, that class. And this class anyhow inherits from drop create database if model changes. This is also drop create database if model changes only now. Are you getting my point here? The child class is what I used here. Let us do one thing now. Let's go to SQL. Drop the database once. Why? Because we use the policy of drop create database if model changes. I did not change any model now. So let me drop off the database and run. First time the tables, default data, everything will be there. Second time onwards, it will not insert any data into the departments, but inserts the data into employees. So, yeah, that's what exactly you need to do. Connect. Come here. We'll drop the database. What's the database name? Company DB. I'll drop all the unnecessary databases here. What are the other one? Family DB. And also store DB. Dropped off. Yeah, let me run now. First time. it got created you. Company DB tables. You have the departments and the employee tables. We have data in department table, the 4 records. Now when you come to employee table, you have data in employee table also. Department table has data, employee table also has data. And guys, all of you notice it. If I run my application for the second time, now data will be present in departments, but not in, data will be inserted into employee, but not into department. Department data executes only one time because you write the code in the seed. You noticed it, you write the same code in seed method, you write the same code in index also. But seed method code is going to insert into department, index method code is insert into employee. Seed method code did not execute for the second time. Seed method code did not execute for the second time. It did not execute for the second time. Just a second. Execute. See, this did not execute second time. But when you come to employee and watch all of you, executed second time. Actually, sir, duplicate na? Yeah, duplicate. I just want to show you the difference. That's why return look there. For employee, we don't do it like this now. For employee, we create views, add, update and all. Just to make you understand the process, I've written the code like this. Seed code did not execute second time, notice. But index code executed second time and duplicate values went here. But because we have identity, these IDs did not violate for us here. Are you guys clear? Okay. So that's what. So did you understand what is seeding now? Whenever you're working with databases, every database will be having some default data. Every database will be having some default data. Default data will be present. So tomorrow for your database also you might require some default data. And to deal with the default data, what you require to do is you just require to store that data into, you just require to add that particular data into the seed method. Okay, in the seed method. But you cannot override the seed method directly. If you want to override the seed method, you need to define your own DB initializer class separately. A separate DB initializer class has to be defined over there. Okay, so after doing that, you can just go for performing the seeding of the data. You can just go for performing data seeding right now. Are you guys clear? So this is all how you perform seed of your particular data, seed. Understood everyone? Okay. Okay. The next thing is, guys, till now we learned about the different ways of creating the databases. I've shown you various options to you. All the things how you work in the entity framework. Now finally, the last thing in the code first year, migrations. What are migrations? Actually, the biggest challenge for us is model changes. The biggest challenge for us is model changes. Today, I defined one class with 10 properties. And I use the database strategy as create database if not exists. What will happen? The table is created with all the 10 columns. Everything is fine. But tomorrow if I add a new column, I'll get an error. If I add a new column, what will happen? I'll get an error. I'll be getting an error. So this is a challenge for us now. This is going to be a quite big challenge for us. How to deal with this? Because tomorrow if at all it changes, you will be getting off an error in the application now. So to overcome that, if I use the strategy as, what strategy if I use? Drop create database if model changes. Drop create database if model changes. Then whenever the model changes, the database will be recreated, correct na? But what about the data loss? What about the data loss? What is that, sir? Array, already inserted 100 records into the table here. If you drop and recreate the database, you have a data loss now. Am I right or wrong? How do you deal with the data loss now? So this is a challenge. What about the data loss? I hope you understood me. Okay. If I use these two strategies, what's two strategies? Drop create database if model changes, or drop create database always, there is a serious issue like data loss. If I use create database if not exist, then no data loss, but changes won't apply. Understood me? To overcome this particular problem, we are provided with a concept called as migrations. Migrations is a concept which is going to put the application and database in sync with each other. It is going to put the application and the database in sync with each other. It is going to put both the two things in sync with each other. Means, how is your application? The database also should be in the same way. Main concept is without a data loss. The main purpose here is without a data loss. See, entity framework code first has a 3 different database initialization strategies. 3 different database initialization strategies, like create database if not exists. Second, drop create database if model changes. Third, drop create database always. However, there are problems with these strategies. What is that? In the first case, model changes will not be updated to database and also throws an error when we run the project. Array, model changes won't apply here, and if you run the project, error will come now. Okay, whereas in the second and third cases, model changes will be updated to database if they already have data other than seed data, or we created our own stored procedures, triggers, views, etc. in our database, then these strategies will drop the entire database and recreate it, so we'll lose the data and database objects also. I created my own stored procedures on the database here. I added some triggers on my tables now. You learned about triggers and all now? I add triggers. I defined some functions in my database. I created some views in my database. And this is going to recreate the database. When recreated the database, all your database objects are destroyed now. Did you catch my point? So we have problem with 3 approaches now. One approach will not allow changes. Second approach will allow changes, but there is a problem of data loss. There is a problem of the data loss here. So how is that? Then how to resolve this particular problem? To overcome the above problem, entity framework introduced migrations that automatically updates the database schema whenever our model changes. Without losing any existing data or other database objects. Your data loss will not be there, or other database objects also will not be lost. Are you clearer or not? And to do this also, guys, listen, to do this also, you require to define your own DB initializer. You require to define your own DB initializer. A new DB initializer should be defined by you in this context also. Okay. See, just now, in the previous example, I have shown you how to define your own DB initializer, right? Talking to you only. Just now we saw how to define our own DB initializer. Now also we need to do the same thing. We need to define our own DB initializer. But inherit from which class, sir? Because if I inherit from any of the 3 classes, problem is there. Not those 3 classes. The new DB initializer should inherit from a different class called as migrate database to latest version. That is the 4th DB initializer which cannot be directly used. That is the 4th DB initializer which cannot be directly used. I already talked about only 3 DB initializers here. 4th one is there. That cannot be directly used. If you want to use it, you need to define a child class and do all the stuff there. Did you catch my point? What is the 4th one? Migrate database to latest version. Understand here? Migrate database to latest version. I hope you guys understood my point here. So that is exactly what we have. Migrate database to latest version. That is the new DB initializer, what you're required to do. Okay. And remember, there are two kinds of migrations available for us. There are two kinds of migrations available. First one, automated migrations. Second one, code-based migrations. Well, first option, automated migration. Second one, code-based migrations. Well, automated migrations. NT framework provides automated migration option so that you don't have to process database migrations manually. Don't need to do anything manually. For each change you make in your domain classes. The automated migrations can be implemented by executing the enable migrations command in the package manager console. What is that? This automated migrations means whenever you make changes in the model, you don't require to do anything manually. NT framework will automatically do it. But if at all you want code-based migrations, you're required to run commands. Automated migrations is like working with a GUI, guys. And code-based migration is like working with a CUI. You're required to type all your commands to do the code-based migrations. You need to type all your commands to do the code-based migrations. So first, let me explain you automated migrations, and then I will teach you the code-based migrations. Am I clearer or not? Okay. Guys, I just want to tell you, like everyone is asking about, sir, when will be the holidays? When will be the holidays? Everyone is asking about that. So for them, I'm just telling that. Guys, one thing is, I will not be available. Wednesday is holiday. I'll not be available the next 3 days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'll not be available. Tuesday session, I'm not aware. Tuesday session, I'm not still aware. Tuesday, we have a session of the planning or not, I'm not aware. I'll tell you one thing, otherwise, if you're leaving, leave it here. If you're leaving, Leo, attend the class online. If you're going out of station, that one option you can do, attend the class online. All of you have the meeting ID, I hope. Have it? You have the meeting ID, so you attend the class online. Okay, one more thing also I'm planning, guys. I know because we are going to have 3 sessions not there. Let's have a session tomorrow. Let us have a session tomorrow. Tuesday, I hope so 90% there will not be a session. But if still Tuesday we have a session, if at all your session, attend online. Is that clear? Mainly for offline students. Online students, you don't have any problem now. You can attend anyhow. You're offline only. You're sitting at home. Why holiday special for you? You can just attend the class. Only people attending for offline only. I'm just focusing on. Okay. So tomorrow we'll have a session. 8 o'clock we'll start. 8 to 10. Okay. 8 to 10 tomorrow I'll take your session. And again, the Monday we'll have a session. Tuesday, I don't know. Tuesday I can't tell you. But Thursday, Friday, Saturday, sure, I'm not taking the class because I'll be leaving out of station. I'll not be available. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Next, we'll have a session tomorrow. Monday will tell you whether you have a session on Tuesday or not, whether you have a session on Tuesday or not. But that is guarantee. What is it? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you don't have a session. Is that clear? Okay, fine. So tomorrow we'll start. All of you, tomorrow also start join of online only, guys. Tomorrow also join of online only. Okay. If you don't have the meeting ID, just ask the admin, he'll provide you the meeting ID. Everyone have it? Yes or not? Okay then. Tomorrow 8 o'clock we'll start here, Indian time. Okay. We'll start at 8 o'clock. 8 to 10. Why no need much early? We'll start at 8 o'clock and 8 to 10 we'll have the session. Fine. So first let me teach you automated migrations to you. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm going to create you a project. Let's create a new project. Again, from next Monday, we'll have offline. Next Monday, Just only these 2 days, 3 days, because if you're leaving out of station again, that's why I said you return for online for these 2 days. So again from Monday, we'll just go for offline only. Next Monday, coming 10th, I think. Create new project. ASP.NET web application. I'll create a project called as EFCF8, anti-framework code first 8. MVC 7. Yeah. MVC. Install anti-framework, tools, NuGet package manager, browse, anti-framework, I'll show you package manager console also I'll show you. Yeah, I said I'll show you. Yeah, install. Now let's create our context classes. Let us create the context classes now. Not the context classes, domain classes. We'll do one thing. The first domain class will go with is a student class here. Something like a student. Yeah. Customer or student, something I used. A student only. Student is my class. Model. Class. Student is the class. Just I'm defining the class with only 2 properties here. Just 2 properties. Not complicated, very simple. Just 2 properties. What are the 2? ID, name. Nothing more. Okay, now. Then we'll define the context class also. We'll name it as school DB context. School DB context. Using system.data.entity DB context. DB context. Next, constructor public school DB context colon base call on str. Next, context we define. Next, public DB set for the entity student students get set. Okay, done. So next, right here, go to web.config and define the web config class here. Go for the connection string in the web.config. Open the web.config. config. Okay, done. What next? So we have been ready with all the things. The next thing what you need to define is a controller, right? The next thing is a controller. We'll define a controller called school controller. Controller, add a controller, school control. Next, import the model namespace, create the context class name. All these things are same. Import the model namespace. MVC with EFA dot models. I will create the context class object here. Okay. What is the name, guys? School DB context DC is equals to new school DB context. Creating that context class object. Now let us write some data. Let us write some data for inserting into the table. Just simple data to insert into the table. One record here, just one record, that's all. Nothing I run. I created one instance, I added it, I called save changes, return. So my point is just creating the database, that's all. Just creating the database. So what you'll do, right click, add view. Add. Just my point is only to create the database, nothing more than this. Okay, and once we run that, the database is created, the tables are created, everything will be done. Okay, view launched. So here database must be created, refresh, school DB, tables, student. Student ID, name. Nothing new. Is it clear? To data. What happened? One record, just one record. Now tell me, I want to make some changes to my database now. I want to make some changes to my model. I'm sorry, I want to make some changes to my model. If I make any changes to the model, will those changes be affected on the application? No, they won't be. Try if you want what will happen, because the default strategy is create a database if not exists. Am I correct? Create a database if not exists is the default strategy. Because the default strategy is a create a database if not exist, if I come here and try to add a new property now, I'm trying to add a new property. Public int class of the student. Public int class of the student. I'm trying to add it. Are you clear? So just for understanding, I'll use nullable. I'll go for nullable. Why? Whenever you are adding a new column, guys, by default it should be nullable. Your thought in your SQL Server classes, if it is not null, error will come. Whenever a new column is added, it should be by default nullable. Because null value is a comment should get, afterwards you can update. If it is not null, you cannot add a new column now. Okay, this is my requirement. I just done it. Now come back to my index.cshtml, run this. When I run this, guys, I'll get an error. Why, sir? Because you are using drop create database, create database if not exists. Create database if not exists. And the create database if not exists will give you an error because there is a change in the model. The model backing the school DB context has changed since the database was created. And asking you consider using code first migrations to update the database. Are you clear? What you want to do? You want to create a database or update a database now? You want to update a database, not create a database. Database already created. What you want to do is update the database. So if you want to update the database, none of the three strategies will work for you. Remember, none of the three strategies will work for you. What three? Create database. The problem is error. The second two will update the database, but data loss. You will lose the data. You will lose the data. The data will be lost if I go for the remaining two strategies. Okay. So have a look. See now. Now, if we make any changes to the model class, like adding new attributes or modifying existing attributes and run the project, we get an error because by default, the database initialization strategy is create database if not exists. And if we try to change the database initialization strategy to drop create database if model changes or drop create database always, we'll be losing the existing data in the table. And to overcome the problem, let's use migrations. To overcome this problem, let's use migration. First, starting with automatic migrations. All of you starting with what? Automatic migrations. How to use automatic migrations? Okay, if at all you just want to use automatic migrations, guys, you require to run one command. You require to run one command. You need to run one command actually here. And that command will be taking the responsibility for the automatic migrations for your code. We need to run one command here, and that particular command will be taking the responsibility of the automatic migrations. Where to run the command? Watch all of you. Where to run that command? This is your studio now. Go to Tools menu, and we know this NuGet Package Manager. Manage NuGet packages for solution. We all know this. But if at all you want to run any package manager commands, you require to use this package manager console. When you select this, it will launch you the package manager console in the bottom. Here is where you require to run the command. Here you just require to run your commands that you want for the migrations now. Okay. For automated migrations, only one command. For manual migrations, every time you require to run multiple commands there. Not here you run one command and leave enough. But there, every time you change, you need to run the commands again and again, again and again. That's what manual migration is all about. So let's see the automated migrations. Okay, guys, observe it. I'm showing the automated migrations. What is the command? The command what you require to use is, just a minute. Here you have the help actually. If at all you want to just get any help, get help, NuGet to see all the available NuGet commands. Try guys, get underscore help NuGet. It will show you the command. Yeah. I said, you know, we can install NT framework by using here also. That is what install package. And if you give the package name, it will install you that. Install package. And if you give the package name, it will install you. What is the package name? We install now. You can just see the package name here. Go to the tools menu once. Here you install the package now. You can see the package name in the install list. That is only the package name here, NT framework, I think. That is only the package name, NT framework. So next time, I will show you that. I will install directly from the package manager console. Directly from the PMC, I will install and show you. Without opening this, I can just run it like this. How to run? Install hyphen package. entity framework, NT framework. What is the message say? Already existing. If not existing, click install here. Is it clear? So without going to the NuGet package manager, you can do from here. If you know the package name. The problem here is I should know package name here. If I don't know package name, I can't use it here. But there I don't require to know the package name. The search window will show you. I can select and install. But here that is the problem. Okay. And tomorrow, if you want to update, you can update the package. Clearer? You have an option to uninstall the package. See now, let us uninstall. Uninstall NT framework. It removed of here. It removed of NT framework. NT framework is uninstalled now. Because NT framework is uninstalled. See now, all these are errors now. And all these are from NT framework only. Let's reinstall. How to install? Install package. Now again I am reinstalling this. Again I reinstall. See now all the errors are removed off. Okay now. So here only we just require to use a command here. Oh, what is the command? Okay. A clear option. I'm clearing of all. And I need to run the command now. What is it? Enable hyphen migrations. Enable migrations. What you want? Automatic or code based? Automated migrations is what I'm here. Hyphen enable automatic migration colon $true. Enable migration hyphen enable automatic migration colon $true. So that is the command. Hit the enter key. No space, I think. Migration enable automating. Wrong, I typed. Enable hyphen migration. Okay. Wrong. I typed wrong. Enable hyphen migration space, not hyphen, space. Again, hyphen enable migration. There is no space here again. Clear? Here we have a space. Afterwards, we are to use it like this. Yes, it's enabling, guys. Checking the context targets and existing database. So this action, what you have done here, will create you a folder under the project. Under that, you will find a class called as configuration. This configuration class, if you look at it, this configuration class will provide you a class called configuration, and this is inheriting from DB migrations configuration class. And here we have a constructor. And you see this automated migrations enabled is equals to true. Automated migrations enabled is equals to true. And it is just going to tell what is the context class name. What is the context class name? School DB context. If you want any seed data, write the seed data coding here. Write the seed data coding in this particular place now. Are you clear? This is the first thing what you require to do. This is the first thing what you require to do. No, DB first, why will you update the package manager? Yeah, DB first, you require to update. I already explained about DB first. In DB first, You're required to right click on the EDMX file and say update database. That is the option I shown you done already. Not this one. This is for what? This is for code first, not for DB first. For DB first, I already shown you. Not available. You're required to do it like this only. You need to do it like this only. Okay. So, guys, so this is a class what is defined for you automatically. Now don't bother about this. Now what you will do, the next thing what you just required to do now is, you go to your context class now. You go to your context class. After going to the context class, import the migrations namespace. What is the migrations namespace? Array, this class is in migrations namespace. Import the migrations namespace using MVC with EF8 dot migrations. Dot migrations is a namespace. Migrations namespace. And after importing the migrations namespace, okay, here use a initializer now. Use a initializer now. How to use database dot set initializer. And guys, till now I shown you 3 initializers to you. What are the first one? Drop create database if not exist. Second, drop create database if model changes. Drop create database always. Now I'm using the 4th migration. The 4th migration. What is the 4th migration? Migrate database to latest version. Migrate database to latest version. See, remember, actually, you noticed that your all these classes, all these 3 classes are taking a parameter. What is the parameter? Context class is a parameter. Now also same. I need to pass the context class as a parameter here. Not only context class, you're required to pass one more parameter for this. That is the configuration class which is created for you by the entity framework. The second class is configuration. I said you one thing, remember, you cannot use this directly. Why you cannot use? Because the second parameter is the configuration. Until and unless the configuration is present, you cannot use this now. You're required to enable either code-based or automated migration. Then only you will get the configuration class and then only you can perform this one. There is no chance of directly using. That is why I did not show you earlier. Actually, there are 4 initializers for us. 1, 2, 3 we learned. Now we are learning the 4th one. What is the 4th one? Migrate database to latest. This initializer is not to create a database. This initializer is to update the database. The first 3 are to create the database, but this is to update the database. What is the name? Migrate database to latest version. Are you getting me or not? This is what exactly you need to do. So first, run the command. When you run the command, it will define a class called migrations. Now what you will do? Go to your SchoolDB context class now, and in the SchoolDB context class, add this particular statement there. Okay, a class and write the below statement in a constructor. Write this code in the constructor. Database dot set initializer new migrate database to latest version, SchoolDB context and configuration. Understood? With this action, everything is set ready for automatic migrations. I repeat, guys, with this action, everything is set ready for automatic migrations. And to test this, either add a new property to student class or add a new model class in the project. And next time when we run the project, we see all the changes reflecting under the database. However, sometimes when we modify or remove existing properties, you're going to modify an existing or remove an existing property. In domain classes, we get automatic data loss exception. We'll get a data loss. Sorry, you're trying to remove a column. If you remove a column, data loss is there, it is telling you. See, when you're removing a column, what is the point of thinking about data loss now? Did you catch my point? I want to remove the column here. When I'm removing the column, there is no point of discussing about data loss now. But entity framework will give you error. I can't do this because there is a data loss. I need to tell the entity framework. What is it? Okay, no problem, go ahead. No problem, go ahead. If I say no problem, go ahead, then entity framework will automatically perform it. Okay, I'll show you. Hold on. First, all the changes are done now. Array, frankly, you have done only two things. What are the two things? One is you ran a command there. That's all. Second thing, you came now and you added that line, that's all. Other than that, you did not do any great changes in the code. Did you notice my point? Frankly, Randy, you written only one line. Reminding it, everything is done by the NT framework. Package manager console command, I've done that. I need to run a command. What is the command? Enable migration space minus enable automatic migration colon $true. This command will create you the classes, and after creating the classes, now you can do whatever you want. Come on, let us come to student. I added a new class. Shall I run it now? Earlier we got error, right? Actually, one more record will be inserted in the table. That only I want to show you. What is it? No data loss. Duplicate record. Raju only will be inserted. Let it insert, no problem. But there is no data loss here. That's what the main point I wanted to show you. Yes, the same process. Right now, error did not come. Did you notice? No error. Duplicate record. Yeah, I just said what is my intention is to show you there is no data loss. Actually, I put the same data. If I go and change there, it will change. I did not change. But just notice the point. There is no data loss here. The old record was present as it is now. Now I'll add a new column, another column. Okay, we'll try. What is it? Fees. Public float fees. Get set. Okay, all of you carefully observe. What I used here? Float. Float is nullable or non-nullable? Float is nullable. Float is non-nullable. Because float is non-nullable, the column which is going to be added will be not null column. When I add a not null column, immediately error will come. Why? For the first two records, you need to put null value there. See, when it added a new column, what is the value it is putting? Null. When I add the new column, can I put null in the column now? In the piece column, I cannot put null now. Why? How will you put null in the float column? How will you put null in that particular place now? What came? 0. The default value is taken as 0. The what here? It cannot put in null. So what are you putting now? 0 is what it is adding for you there. Point clear. Suppose if I add another column here, we'll add a string column. We'll add a string column. Public string school name. Get set. And here I'm using the annotation. What annotation? Required. I'm using the annotation. What annotation? Required annotation is used. Are you clear? Means now the school name is nullable or not null? Louder here. Not null. This is a not null column. Okay. Error. Why error? What I'm telling you, not null column means you can't store a null value. When you cannot store a null value, immediately error will come now. For int we did not, for float we did not get an error. Why? 0 went up to the as a default value. Why was the default value for string error null, but the column is not null. Error. See what is the error? Validations failed for one of the more entities. See NT member validation error. Some validation failed. We know why we got the error here. The error is quite clear. What is the reason? Because you're trying to add a not null on it, and default this cannot contain the null value in it now. That is why it is showing you the error for you in this place. Is that clearer? Okay. So that's what. So the right now okay, are you clear? That's why throw there. Okay, fine. Now guys, observe it. When you come here, it is not storing null actually here. Null is not there. Then what is there, sir? Empty string. What is present in the column? Empty string. And if null is there, it should show you null. It's not null. What it has stored here? Empty string is what empty framework has stored. Okay? Means treating like some empty string, not a null value. Now see, I want to remove this column. I want to remove this column. You added now. Now you are removing it. Okay. When you are removing it, empty framework here, error again. What is the error? I already said you. Read the message, guys. Automatic migration was not applied because it would result in, already said you that only. When you're adding a column, default values can go. But when you're removing a column, there is always a chance of data loss. Okay. So set automatic. It is giving a hint also. Read the hint. Set automatic migration data loss allowed to true on your DB migrations configuration to allow application of automatic migration even if they could cause you data loss. Alternatively, use update database force option or scaffold and explicit migration. Means it is telling you use a force option, I'll do it. No, don't do all these things. Simply go to configuration class and in the configuration class add a statement. What you know? Automatic migration data loss allowed is equals to true. Are you clear? Automatic migration data loss allowed is equals to true. When I said data loss allowed is equals to true, I'm allowing the data loss now, and because I'm allowing the data loss, if you run this code, automatically there will be no problem to delete the new column what is added in the table. Run and see, the new column must be removed off from the column. What is the new column? School name. Sorry. We did not run that controller. What is that? School and index. We did not run that. Actually, when you hit that only, it will happen. Some controller you call, application won't change. Nah? That controller only. Lost it? Same way, I just wanted to come back. And I want to remove these two columns also again. I want to bring it back to its original state. Run. No, it is not possible, Sai Kumar. That's what I said to you. Yesterday also we are asking the same thing only. In code first, you are required to make changes from code side only. You cannot make database changes. Again, you are repeating the same things, guys. Code first is our approach. Changes should be done from code side only. You cannot make changes from database side. Are you clear? The two columns have been deleted here. The two columns have been deleted for you in this place. So like this, we can just add the columns. You can also delete the columns. I did not talk about this now. Migration is, I said I'll tell you about this. I'll talk about this in detail in the next class here. I'll take you. But see, whenever you try to make any modifications, all the modifications you've done are recorded. This is the initial migration. First time when you started your application. Afterwards, you added one column, second column, third column. See, first you added class column. Second, you added fees column. Third, you added school name column. Fourth, you removed school name. Fifth, you removed the two columns. Everything will be recorded here. When the date, time, all these actions are going to be recorded for you, and here it will show you the context. What can I do with this? I'll tell you. We'll talk about this in detail in the code first migrations. I will tell you about these things in detail in the code first migrations. In the code first migrations, I will talk about all those particular things. What exactly can I do with those things? But all the things will be recorded. The name of the table, you understand? Migration history. It is going to store the migration history for you. Every update gets recorded. How many entries are there? 6 entries. Do one thing. Let us add a new column. Ravi Teja, stop the video. Let's try a new change here. Public int age. Get set. Let's make it nullable, guys. Run. Earlier we have 6 entries now. Now with this change, there should be 7 entries in the table. What is the first value, timestamp. Timestamp here, the date and time when the modification has been done, when the initial creation was made, when the first change was done, when the second change was done, when the third change was done. All that information will be stored for you into this one. That is called as timestamp. That's the timestamp. Second one, it will give you some name now. Initial creation, automatic migration, like this. It is just giving some name now. Wait, the class did not start yet. Okay, these are all the things. What is it showing for you here? Is that clear? Okay, so this is what we can do. I'll show you tomorrow in detail in the code first migration. There we have a lot of control. Actually, guys, that is only beautiful. Code first migration. Default data we can send, all those things we can just do on our own in the code first migrations. Okay, tomorrow we'll see the code first migration. So we'll start the session at 8 o'clock tomorrow. Okay, all of you join online. Okay, now? So fine, guys, we'll meet tomorrow. రేపు క్లాస్ ఉందని చెప్పు. రేపు క్లాస్ ఉందని చెప్పు. ఆన్లైనే అయితే